Welcome to this rapid 12-minute explainer where we've packed in literally all the information you need to master body recomposition. Think about our ancestors for a second. If you look back at the Paleolithic era, you'll find early humans naturally rocking incredibly low body fat alongside high functional muscle mass. I mean, they were built for sudden sprints and sustained, grueling hunts. But today, getting that exact same lean, muscular physique feels like an absolute uphill battle for most of us. But what if we could use the deep science of human metabolism to get that ancestral edge back? Well, that's exactly what we're doing today. We're breaking down the ultimate blueprint to achieve what many call the holy grail of fitness, body recomposition.
Okay, let's dive into this. Is it actually possible to burn fat and build muscle at the exact same time? If you've ever felt trapped by traditional fitness advice, you definitely aren't alone. For decades, the industry basically said you have two strict choices. You either bulk to gain muscle and just accept getting kind of fluffy, or you cut to lose fat and watch all your hard-earned muscle just vanish. It's exhausting, right? We've all been through those yo-yo cycles. But modern clinical science tells us a completely different story. It is absolutely possible to do both simultaneously as long as you understand and pull the right biological triggers.
So, here's our structured roadmap for today. First, el mito del déficit. Second, la dieta de recomposición. Third, entrenamiento de cuerpo completo. Fourth, el poder del ayuno. And finally, midiendo tu éxito real.
All right, starting with part 1, el mito del déficit, or why traditional diets fail your muscles.
We really need to talk about why extreme starvation diets are scientifically flawed. When we want to lose fat, our instinct is to slash our calories, right? But studies show that if you cut your food intake by just 20%, your body instantly hits the panic button. It goes into survival mode. It perceives a famine. And because muscle is biologically expensive to maintain, your body essentially hides the building blocks needed to create new tissue and drastically slows down your metabolism just to keep you alive. Recomposition dieting, though, totally bypasses this panic state. By keeping your calories stable, you prevent the famine response. This metabolic safety net allows your body to comfortably use its own stored internal fat as the energy source to build new muscle. It's basically a metabolic cheat code.
Now you're probably sitting there wondering, is this actually for me? Well, the clinical data highlights 3 ideal profiles perfectly primed for this phenomenon. First, true beginners, people with little training experience who can ride the wave of those newbie gains. Second, returning athletes. Maybe you had an injury or maybe the pandemic just kept you out of the gym for a few years. And third, individuals with a body fat percentage over 25%. If you deliberately identify with any of these categories, you are literally sitting on a gold mine of internal energy, just waiting to be systematically redirected into muscle synthesis. Let's move to section 2, la dieta de recomposición, the math of muscle and fat.
So the crucial point is how we actually fuel this whole process. The secret is 5%, just 5%. If you want to build muscle while simultaneously losing fat, the scientific evidence says you need to eat exactly at your daily maintenance level, or at a tiny, tiny deficit of just 5%. To put that math into perspective, if you eat 2,500 calories a day to maintain your weight, 5% is a measly 125 calories. That is literally the equivalent of skipping a single apple. Seriously, that's it. Any more of a deficit than that and you severely hinder muscle construction. This tiny sweet spot protects your metabolic rate while gently forcing your body to tap into stored fat for growth.
And here's exactly how you need to balance those meals. This is actually one of those rare physiological scenarios where a super high protein intake, around 2 grams per kilo of your total body weight, is strictly recommended. It stops muscle loss in its tracks and fuels something called gluconeogenesis. Basically, that's just a fancy word for your body creating its own energy from amino acids instead of carbs. You pair all that massive protein with slow, low glycemic carbs like sweet potatoes or oats to prevent the insulin spikes that trigger fat storage. And finally, you add healthy fats. They are absolutely crucial for giving your body the literal building blocks to produce hormones like testosterone. You get this right, and the chemical balance is just perfect.
Moving on to section 3, entrenamiento de cuerpo completo, maximizing the muscle stimulus.
Okay, so we've got the perfect fuel, now we need the spark. Building muscle in a deficit is tough, so you need a very specific, intense physical stimulus. It's time to heavily lean away from the traditional gym bro splits where you hit chest on Monday and back on Tuesday. For true body recomposition, full body workouts are vastly superior. By training your whole body in a single session, you avoid completely wrecking one single muscle group, which would take way too much vital energy to repair. Plus, you're drastically bumping up the frequency of stimulation. You are literally multiplying your weekly growth signals, telling your muscles to grow 3 to 4 times a week without burning yourself out.
But watch out, because there is a hidden, highly destructive enemy in this process: cortisol. That's your body's primary stress hormone. Think about our modern lives. If you stack a dietary deficit, intense gym workouts, and the grinding daily stress of a 9-to-5 job and endless emails, your cortisol is going to absolutely spike. And when cortisol is chronically elevated, it completely blocks the construction of new muscle. Actually, scratch that. It doesn't just block it, it breaks down the tissue you already have. That is exactly why actively managing your daily stress, prioritizing 8 solid hours of sleep, and getting amino acids directly after your workout are absolutely vital strategies to keep you in a building phase.
Section 4. El Poder del Ayuno. Biohacking Fat Loss.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the harsh physiological truth about exercise. On average, only about 15% of your total fat loss comes from working out. Yeah, just 15%. A staggering 85% comes entirely from your diet and advanced metabolic tools like fasting. You simply cannot out-train a bad diet, but by strategically utilizing intermittent fasting, we shift that 85% lever heavily in our favor. We are effectively biohacking the system, forcing the body to abandon circulating blood sugar and start torching deeply stored fat reserves all day long.
Here's what a scientifically optimized 16-8 fasting schedule looks like specifically for body recomposition. You fast for 16 hours straight. But here is the critical biohack that most people completely miss. Right around hour 12 of your fast, you consume BCAAs, or branched-chain amino acids. This gives your system the exact physiological bricks it needs to protect and preserve your existing muscle mass, all while keeping your metabolism locked into a deep, highly efficient fat-burning state for the final 4 hours of the fast. It's a real game changer.
You see, fasting isn't just about dropping fat. It's a massive physiological multiplier. When you fast, your human growth hormone, or HGH, can naturally spike by up to 20 times its normal baseline. 20 times! HGH is the master hormone for massive muscle growth and cellular renewal. Furthermore, clinical studies show that if you properly break that fast and spread your heavy protein intake evenly across your remaining 8-hour eating window, people are seeing an extraordinary average of 2.5 kilograms of pure muscle gain in just 12 weeks, all while simultaneously dropping body fat.
Finally, Section 5. Midiendo tu éxito real. Ditch the scale.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because if you're executing this blueprint perfectly, you're inevitably going to hit a major psychological hurdle. When you successfully lose a pound of fluffy fat, but you gain a pound of dense, compact muscle, your bathroom scale simply isn't going to budge. You have to literally ditch the scale, throw it out. Instead, grab a measuring tape. Measure the circumference of your primary fat storage areas, like your abdomen, to explicitly ensure they're shrinking. Then, measure your muscle areas, like your biceps, to ensure they're expanding. And most importantly, track your progressive overload in the gym. If you are consistently lifting heavier weights, your body is undeniably recomposing itself, regardless of what that scale says.
Oh, and as a truly fascinating, cutting-edge bonus, modern science is rapidly uncovering that our human hormones aren't the only master regulators of our bodies. Think of the migratory birds of Europe. Before a massive, continent-spanning journey to Africa, they drastically alter their body fat percentages simply by changing their diet and, crucially, completely shifting their internal gut flora. It's like a giant puzzle. By deliberately consuming more prebiotics, think of foods like raw oats or asparagus, you can actually cultivate an internal bacterial microbiome that naturally, biologically favors a leaner, more highly muscular physique. It is genuinely incredible to think that the microscopic bacteria sitting inside our stomachs right now might hold the final elusive keys to this complex physiological puzzle. So, is optimizing your gut microbiome the true, final frontier to fully unlocking your perfect body composition? It is a deeply fascinating area of emerging science and definitely something you should strongly consider as you put this entire blueprint into action. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Now take these steps, apply the science, and go unlock your body's true potential.